Hey, Vincent Wellington.
Hey, Vince. Go ahead. Speak up, Vince.
It's just it's crazy how the separation between even Republicans and just their own party is. You know, you and Steve is a perfect example. People like Tucker Carlson and Mark Levin will never agree because they're living their own reality of what they were forced to live as a young kid, going through newspapers and digging through articles like Steve and them did when they were young. It's just different compared to what we have now with the internet. And the
well, you know, what Mark Levin's, you're right. What Mark Levin's issue is, President Trump's bringing peace for Israel and dealing with Iran in a different way. And it doesn't involve bombs or armies. And that's forming new alliances with Qatar.
I don't think that's Mark Levin's problem.
That's what it is. Why else? Why he was very specific about criticizing the deals with Qatar and Afghanistan.
Yeah, but these people that are like Mark Levin.
Sometimes what appears to be the obvious answer is not all that obvious. I think what's been bugging Mark for a while is he's afraid Israel is going to get nuked, and he thinks that as much as he usually agrees with Trump 100% down the line, I think on this one he thinks that Trump should move.
And I'd also say I think he's a coward. To go after Witkoff when he's really going after Trump it's a little cowardly too, right? Going after Witkoff, he's criticizing Witkoff for following Trump's orders.
I question a lot of these people in the mainstream media because of the way that they have an outlook on the world, and that we should be the police still of the world. But, you know, I understand where you're coming from, Steve. You know, I want to protect Israel. I don't want it to go away. I don't want it to be another 2,000 years of them not having a country. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm not, you know, on the side of anybody, really. But, you know, in America's position, I want to make America great again. And the fight that you're seeing is people that want to make America great again, and then people that are worried about the rest of the world and getting disarrayed because they're, you know, their feelings are hurt about this area, this region, this war.
Well, and I'll tell you, there's another thing that we see crop up quite a bit. There's a lot of ego. It's like a royal court. Okay, Mar-a-Lago and it's like a royal court, and there's a lot of rivalries inside the court of Trump and jealousies. And a lot of these people are jealous that they're not being heard or listened to, or their will isn't being done and things like that.
That's what you want, though. That's showing real growth in the party. You know, what you're seeing with the Democrats is that their infighting is different.
Yeah, palace intrigue. It's palace intrigue.
Right.
You know, a lot of times, you know, in situations like this where you have palace intrigue in the court, people like the biggest example of this is Steve Bannon. He is so angry at Elon, and it's obvious he's just jealous that Trump listens to Elon and not Bannon.
Yeah, but all that petty infighting is of no interest to me.
Well, that's what's going on with Levin, with Steve Witkoff,
well,
I think.
I don't know that. So wait a minute. So you're saying that you don't think there's been any damage between Levin and Trump?
I think Trump isn't even aware of this. He's busy in the Middle East, and this is petty stuff he doesn't have time for.
He didn't even respond to Steve Bannon. So if you know, this infighting is one thing, but you know, Steve Bannon was part of his collage of the first administration, you know, so him saying something versus somebody that's not really a full part of his administration is going to get even less attention. So I don't think you're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be honest.
All right, Vincent Wellington. All right, take care. All right, let's take another one. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Hello.
Yep.
Yep. Good morning. Good morning, IB and Bro.
Hey, IB.
As for Levin, I think it's just his country clubs, the people you have to hang around, that you always have to throw the jab in at the last moment to like say that he doesn't agree with everything with Trump 100%. You know, he's just kind of like throwing his friends a bone because he knows that Trump is doing everything right. There's no need to criticize. Like you say, why would you criticize if there isn't something to criticize? Trump got not the red carpet, okay, the purple carpet. Royalty is purple. They gave him the royalty treatment. Just look at the horses, the horns, the swords, the parade. Okay, they laid out the purple carpet. He's royalty, and he's gonna do like what Brian says when he is like the Martin Luther King that brings peace. He's doing it globally. If he brings these people into the Abraham Accord, then they must tell their people to chill on the violence that they're doing.
See,
with
Mark Levin, yeah, you're right. I appreciate it. Just one thing, and then we'll break and get back on schedule, Steve. Mark Levin was taking specific issue with Qatar and Saudi Arabia's government's roles in 9/11. And 9/11 was god-awful. I don't want to trivialize that or write that off, but it was 24 years ago. It's like saying we shouldn't be doing business with Japan or Germany in 1965, right? It's been that much time. And I don't know. I just thought it was a little bizarre. Okay, well, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. We'll take our break for the bottom, and I'll just throw this out. Steve wants Richie to call in, and we'll see if Richie's on the line when we get back. Our number, 888-465-2631. Back after this. All right. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, Richie's not on hold. He didn't answer your shout out.
And you're free of the line?
Yeah, I left one free. Okay, we'll see if he calls in, but he's not there now. Hold on. No, it's a good topic. I'm glad you brought it up because
yeah,
I was trying to get it going the other day, but it didn't take off. So now that you're into it, it helps. All right, we're back. I'm Ron Craig. Steve Kane is here. I want to talk about Dr. Appleton before we go to the phone. So if you're on hold, hang in there. And I know, Steve, I know you've been past this age for a long time, but at the age I am now, I can remember when my grandparents were younger than I am today.
Oh boy.
Well, I'm sure you can too, Steve. At your age, you just had a birthday.
That's for sure.
Yeah, but that means I'm getting old. And, the thing about growing old, I remember when my grandparents were in their 50s, my grandmother in particular, my grandparents had a big age gap, So my grandmother was a younger woman, Steve, kind of like your wife is to you. It was about the same age difference between my grandparents as you and your wife. But I remember all the aches and pains they had. And when as I was getting into my 50s, and I was starting to have aches and pains and hurting all the time, I just assumed, it's growing old. And then sales person from the radio station, they took me over to meet Dr. Appleton. And I met Dr. Appleton. He told me about the laser away pain treatment, and he treated my knee. And my knee had been in pain for over 20 years, and it's gone. And it hasn't returned. And he's rid me of pain 6 times after that, so a total of 7 times. And growing old is not a part, aches and pains is not a part of it. Doesn't have to be. Now, when my grandparents were my age, Dr. Appleton wasn't around with his laser away pain treatment. But I know if he was, I would have taken my grandparents to them, or if they were here today, I'd take them over there. His laser treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. He's rid me of pain 7 times. The first was my knee over 2.5 years ago, and the pain has not returned. Give Dr. Appleton a call. Take advantage of the no-charge consultation. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. Give him a call. Say bye-bye to your pain. All right, I'm going to go back to the phone, Steve, all right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Yep, you're on the air.
Hi, Brian. Brian, I was just wondering.
Oh, here we go.
Did Pam Bondi ever divest that upwards to $14 million she has in Truth Social, or what's the deal with that?
And what? Why do you talk so strange? You have a weird way of speaking.
Truth Social.
Why do you say it that way? Social. I don't know.
Brian.
I don't know.
I think I speak very clearly, Brian.
You do. You just have a weird dialect.
No, it's not the problem. It's not the way you speak. It's you have nothing to say.
Oh, okay. Can I hang up on him?
Oh,
yeah.
Well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Good. Oh, my goodness. Open Phones is Friday, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow's Open Maga Mike Friday. You can call in about that tomorrow, and I'd be glad to discuss it with you, okay? Because I got some answers, but we got something. Steve and I are in the middle of a conversation of which you were interrupting. All right. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve. How are you today? Brian, if you think I'm doing great, if you look at it, I wonder if more money is being generated for the United States in this one overseas visit than maybe almost all of our prior presidents going way back.
Well, see, this is what I was talking about. And don't lose your thought. You're right. President Trump is the only president in history that I know of that's taken a diplomatic international tour and gotten money given to us for things. Every other president goes and gives our money away. It's never happened before.
Absolutely. Well, the other thing that people aren't factoring in is the huge multiplier effect of all the contracts that will be signed in service of all these contracts that have already been written here. This is going to be a massive increase in employment and in revenues, and it's really
the Boeing deal. The Boeing deal alone, over the course of that deal, because it's many years, is over 400,000 jobs a year. And those are
incredible.
Those are 6-figure jobs, and some of them are probably 7-figure because it involves big airplanes. And that's just one deal. So a total of 1 million jobs.
Well, if you look at the Boeing thing, because Boeing itself is had quite a bit of trouble in recent years, and this may be just what they need to give them a boost there and get them out of the problems that they're having.
And President Trump, it's so amazing. The media, some fake Republicans like Ben Shapiro, the Never Trumpers have been accusing him of taking a bribe with this plane. He knew this deal was set before he left America, and he kept his mouth shut. He didn't go out there, make a deal. The gift to America of the plane was in honor of this deal, so that plane will be on display and the deal will always be remembered.
Well, he probably won't even write it. I probably understand it's going to go to the Department of Defense. So
Air Force,
really,
Air Force in particular.
Air Force. Okay, they have nothing else to talk about, Brian. That's the thing. And no matter they're grasping at straws, and they're looking worse by the day. But this, if you just look at the deals made on this,
they dig their hole deeper.
Absolutely. Oh, Steve, I'm not sure they can get out of this abyss now. It's gone way beyond.
I think you're onto something.
You look at. Yeah, the revenues produced on a 3-day trip overseas.
You know what I think? I'll tell you this. Okay, the Democrat Party's in disarray, but I think that there are people that are the behind the scenes big Democrats. I think they're doing a purge. Their party, when the squad came to Washington a few years ago, that was the beginning of the end. The Democrat Party has been taken over by lunatic activists and racists and non-Americans. And I really think that the power base of the party are letting them self-destruct so they can purge themselves of these lunatics and try to get their party back. That's what I think they're doing.
Well,
I think Schumer seems to be in pretty big trouble. I mean,
he's done. He's done. What did him in was that fake barbecue thing with the hamburgers a few months ago.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
All right,
By
man.
any chance, did you guys see them the Democratic senators going through the prison in El Salvador when they were getting hackled by the prisoners?
Yeah. Didn't work out that one. They don't even like Democrats. All right, take care, man. Appreciate the call. All right, let's see here. All right, the phones. Oh, hold on. The phones are ringing off the hook, Steve. All right, let me take
take a break.
No, not yet. It's too early for a break, but we'll take one soon. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Just took a bite of the damn Taco Bell here. Quick question for you. So you use the term fake MAGA. What's the difference between real MAGA and fake MAGA?
Oh, I'm glad you asked while you're in line at Taco Bell. Fake MAGA is someone who pretends to be MAGA and who is faking it. It's not, It's like when a woman fakes an orgasm with you because you can't satisfy her.
But why would they fake being MAGA?
Because in conservative circles, you'll be out of business if you're a never Trumper Republican, like the Lincoln Project. And National Review. Glenn Beck has permanently damaged himself. Ben Shapiro's in big trouble. So there's a lot of fake MAGA. Many of them are in Congress.
So they pretend to be for Trump for beneficial purposes.
Yes,
but they're not actually for.
Correct.
They're actually not for him at heart.
Correct. They're Republican establishment people. But I give you an example of fake MAGA. Ron DeSantis, textbook example. He was all behind Trump, and then he showed his true colors.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right. That makes a lot more sense. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Y'all have a good one.
You too. I was trying to rile him up on that orgasm thing, but it didn't work. All right. Let's go. Let's see here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
From Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio.
All right.
Milo.
All right.
Okay. All right. I guess the first thing I want to say is that I think we all get frustrated with, what Trump's decisions are sometimes.
No, we don't. I'm not frustrated. I'm not frustrated with Trump at all.
I do. I don't. But I trust that in the end, he's got our best intentions. So when it comes to the Middle East, there's a bunch of people with different ideas of how to handle it. I'm kind of like Mark Levin. Iran is the best negotiators next to Donald Trump, right? And they're going to keep pushing this agreement with them down the road. And meanwhile, they're still trying to work on how to hide, how to...
No, not at all. See, when Iran was in negotiations with the United States... It was with Obama primarily, right? Obama had John Kerry. Okay. Obama had John Kerry handling the negotiations. He was Secretary of State at the time. John Kerry's son-in-law is an Iranian, So they and Obama's background is not that of a Christian guy, if you know what I mean. So no, they've never really dealt with anyone, and President Trump has been very clear they can't have a nuclear weapon. He will take them out if they develop a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, and right now they're trying to say they're going to work with him, but they're going to keep pushing it down the road. A lot of us just say, get on with it already, because Russia, Iran, and China.
Well,
it's so. What does that mean? You mean you want to bomb them?
What it means is there's no margin for error. What it means is if Trump makes a mistake in timing, the consequences of that mistake will be the destruction of Israel.
Trump never makes mistakes. He never makes mistakes.
No, well, and I'm, like I said, I'm on the one side that, I need to trust him. But, I don't like some of these agreements he's making with people because I don't trust Muslims.
Oh, okay. You're an Islamophile. You're a bigot.
1%.
You're a bigot.
No, I don't trust their government.
No. You said I don't trust
they
Muslims.
Lie over and over.
You said you don't trust Muslims, and then you said governments.
Muslim governments. Right after that, you jumped down my throat too.
Well, he was going to call me something else. No, you said Muslims, and then you heard yourself and you corrected it.
No.
Yes.
Muslim governments.
You didn't say government. You added that.
Incorrect. You clarified.
Nah, he doesn't like Muslims.
I clarified. That's not true. I play in Muslim.
Look, you do. Oh, okay. Assalamu alaikum. Did you see the respect that the Muslim countries and leaders gave to our president?
Yes, I get that, but they. Who knows if they're actually going to go through with the whole thing?
Oh, who knows? Listen, we got to run, but assalamu. No, we got to run for the break. I want to tell you guys about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's. It is still in effect, and the doorbell camera, this free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield, you can get that as a gift, right? For your adult children, for grandma, grandpa, even a gift for yourself in your home. And it's a great thing to have. You will love it. It'll change your life. I'm telling you, that doorbell, you'll never have to get up to see who's at your door again. And you get a notification on your phone no matter where you are. And you can see who is there. And you can get a free doorbell camera from Sloman's with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Sloman's is also going to give you a customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus you get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call, toll free, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. We'll take our break and be back. Hey there. Hold on. Steve, you there?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna conference in William. Okay, hold on. All right, William, stand by. We got about 35 seconds. We'll be back.
Okay.
William, you with us?
Yes,
okay,
I'm here.
All right, stand by. All right, stand by, Steve. All right, we're now entering the most listened to portion of the program, and that is the Gold Report, the Gold and Precious Metals Report, with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman in Boca. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metals stable today, but giving us a great buying opportunity yesterday as gold trading in a range of 31.66 to 32.17. Gold closing out the day down $73.10 at 31.7610. Silver was down 69 cents at $32.19 the ounce, while platinum was down $7 at $9.81, and palladium gained $1 at $9.37. Pretty much we've seen overnight, we saw gold trade as low as 31.20 all the way up to 31.94. This gives us about a 10% correction from the high of $3,500 gold now, which is very basic to corrections after major moves in markets. A 10% correction is a very reasonable correction, actually, in light of what we've seen. So this we may be looking at close to the bottom on this corrective phase for gold's bull market. And that being said, we've got gold up $6.10 right now at $3,182.10 the ounce. Silver down 4 cents at $32.15. Silver seems to be building a pretty strong base around that $32 number. Platinum up $2 at $9.83, and palladium up $18 at $9.55.
William, these moves, they seem big, but they're not really, because gold's so high. And back in the days when we were at 1,200 or 1,700, a move like this would be big. But these moves really are they're smaller than they seem. They're just higher numbers than metals people are used to, is how I look at it. Am I right or wrong about that?
Absolutely. You're totally correct.
Yeah, so we got to and that's the way it's going to be when you're this high, which is awesome. We're almost at time with it, but I got a lot of questions from listeners yesterday, and I just wanted to talk about this again briefly. You made a big announcement on the program yesterday about the 90% silver, and people were asking me what that is. And these are these coins. They're quarters, half dollars. They're these older coins. They're 90% silver. So can you explain people about that and what the great deal is on this 90% silver?
Sure. Prior to 1965, all of our dimes, quarters, and half dollars were made out of 90% pure silver, and which means that they had a 10% alloy to make them wear better and harder. So the coins, when silver became more valuable than the silver that was in the coins, the people pulled the silver out of the circulation. It's Gresham's law: bad money pushes out good money, and so what we've seen now is that's become a very popular way for people to buy silver. There's in a $1,000 face value bag of silver. If you took $1,000 worth of dimes, quarters, or half dollars, there's 715 ounces of pure silver.
Oh my goodness!
$1,000.
Wow.
So what we do is we calculate the value of that silver using that formula, and we charge Steve Kane listeners no premium over the silver. So they're buying silver at the base price, and they've got coins. So it's an interesting way. It's been a very popular way to buy and hold silver, and of course, it gives you a very small denomination to deal with. Should you want to sell, $10 worth of silver or $100 worth of silver any way you want.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. A couple years ago, my refrigerator broke. I had to buy a new refrigerator, and I just grabbed a handful of quarters, came over to your shop, and they were 90% silver. And I bought my refrigerator with a handful of quarters. I mean,
yep. Yeah.
It was crazy. It was crazy, and I love. All right, listen. If you know about 90% silver, you understand exactly what William Youngerman said about that melt price. If you're a silver stacker, I love the 90% silver because it's a lot of fun, and give William Youngerman a call. He opens up at 10 a.m. 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010, or stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto. And you can find both his address and phone number on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. All right, Steve, we're back. And Richie didn't answer your call to call us. I'm in shock.
Maybe we'll get him tomorrow.
Maybe, here's, I'm a little different than some of some conservatives, some MAGA people. I believe that this, in particular in the second term, this was true with me in the first term, but now I'm much stricter with others on this. I believe that President Trump, this is the most important presidential term in the history of any of our lives, no matter how old you are. Maybe in the history of our country, certainly since Lincoln. And President Trump obviously has prepared very well. That's why everything's running like clockwork, right? In the 4 years that he was out of office. And I don't believe Trump should be questioned or criticized about anything that he does. And that goes for his staff and cabinet, unless he criticizes them. And I'll tell you, especially in the first 2 years, Steve, because it is possible that we'll gain seats in the midterms. However, historically, the party in power loses control in the midterms. It happens almost every election cycle. So the midterms is an unknown. It's an unknown. Right now, we got the mandate. We've got the greatest president. And I believe he should have a complete free hand to do whatever he wants with whoever he wants in whatever way he wants to do it. And people that are MAGA, in my opinion, which whatever that's worth, people that are MAGA should not be critical of Trump or his team. That's just, And when someone's critical, I get upset with them. But that, it's America, But that's it. All right, let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning. It's Jim from New York. How are you?
Hey, Jim.
James.
Hey, so Steve, I had a question for you. More of a statement. Back in Trump's first term, I kind of learned this. You have to trust Trump. This man, when he's playing the long game. Any time that we sit, especially in the first term, I said, geez, what's he doing? It always turned out right. So you have to trust that he's doing the right thing.
Well, I agree with basically, I trust Trump a lot. But that's not, there's a difference between faith and blind faith. And all I'm saying is, in dealing with Brian, I get frustrated because he operates, so don't take this wrong, Brian, but it's like he operates off reflex. Sometimes I don't think he processes things. You don't want to give up your ability to think.
Steve.
Don't you agree with that, James?
But you know what? But that's the thing, Steve. When Trump first came down the escalator, I was a fan.
You can
I've been a fan. Steve, I've been a Trump fan since day one. But I kind of thought it to be blind faith 7-8 years ago. But now I'm realizing it's just faith because everything he touches turns to gold. It all works out.
And a lot of mistakes, that's for sure.
And Steve and Jim from New York, President Trump wants to bring Iran down more than anyone, even Netanyahu. And people may not realize Iran. The reason he wants to bring Iran down is because for the rest of his life, he and his family are going to be living in fear of the Iranian assassin squads because he took out Soleimani, their general that was in charge of all the terrorism around the world. And his strategy in the Middle East, like meeting with this ex-terrorist that runs Syria and lifting sanctions, he's building up a NATO-like alliance of Muslim Middle Eastern nations, and Iran's going to find themselves a nation alone, and they're going to collapse. And he, believe me, he wants Iran done more than Netanyahu because it's personal. They're trying to kill him every day.
No, I agree.
Agree. It's personal.
Yeah, and for his family after he's gone, that won't have the Secret Service like he does, right?
Exactly. Brian's spot, and you know what? I didn't even consider that. You're spot on about that.
Yeah.
Right. That's personal. He's worried about his kids and his grandkids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just think the thing with Levin and some of these others, the same thing goes for James O'Keefe. These are people I like and support. James O'Keefe, I mean, I love that guy. But there's so many petty jealousies, and a lot of people ask us, well, why aren't you guys hanging out? I don't want to be in that circle where these jealousies happen. I don't like that, and what I'm seeing are top guys like Mark Levin or Steve Bannon who feel slighted by somebody because somebody else has access. Or President Trump, like Candace Owens became a big never Trumper, and she talked about it. She gave Trump advice, and he didn't take her advice, and she turned on him. And there's a lot of people who do that.
Well, Candace Owens is a vicious anti-Semite, since we've come to find out. But you know what? But to your point, Brian, I mean, people don't understand, or at least newer listeners don't understand. You and Steve could be completely in with the Republican Party in South Florida and beyond, but you choose not to because who wants to be in that nonsense, right? The jealousy and the pettiness, come on.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Jim from New York, I appreciate the call, and don't be so sure that we're not in the mix just because we don't brag about it. Oh, I got to tell you guys about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Dr. Zuckerman came in the studio the other day, and, I was talking to him after the show. I told him all kinds of stuff. And I was telling him, I said, I've lost weight in all the places I wanted to. My stomach's completely flat, my waist, my face, my neck. And I had not seen Dr. Zuckerman in a while. And he says, Brian, I mean, my goodness, your face, it's a new face. And this is the one that really surprised me, is when I had to, I put on some of my old MAGA hats, and they were too big. My head shrunk. I had a fat head, Steve. I lost weight in my head and even had to adjust my hats. I told Doc, I said, hey, I've cut my caffeine in half. I think it's because I've lost all this weight. He says, yeah, you have more energy. You don't need the caffeine as much because you're not as tired, because you're not carrying all that weight around. And I'm at the weight I was like about when I got married, and I'm coming up on my 29th wedding anniversary. And it's amazing. Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Give them a call. And those of you that have been going in as couples, that's awesome. And Steve, our listeners, no matter where they're located in America, can take advantage of Coastal Weight Loss Secret. You don't have to be here local and going in person. No matter where you are in the country, you can call them. When you call Coastal Weight Loss Secret, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. All right, here's the number. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlasssecret.com. This thing, Steve, about not questioning Trump especially in these first 2 years of the second term, if we lose control of Congress, which is possible, it's an unknown factor. I think this big, beautiful bill, the first of many, we could gain. But President Trump has these 2 years that we know he can get his whole agenda through. In the last 2 years, if we lose Congress or even one House, it won't be as easy, okay?
Yeah.
So
for sure.
So I just don't have patience for people that aren't doing what he wants to do and going along with it and being critical. I'm sorry. And you guys can say that I worship Trump and all this stuff. I don't care. We will never have a president like this again. Ever. There's going to be other MAGA presidents, JD, Marco, a lot of great people, but we'll never have one like this. All right, Steve, we're out of time for today, but tomorrow is Open Phones. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. Any and everything on your mind is fair game on Friday's show.
Maybe we'll get Richie to call.
I'd be shocked if we didn't get Richie. It's the
Levin.
It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane has been here. Thanks, everyone. Those of you that didn't make it on today, well, hang in there. You'll be first in line tomorrow. See you tomorrow, 6 a.m. Take care. All right, guys, we are out. Well, listen, thanks for watching. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe to the program, all right? My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for watching.